Tesla has lost over $700 billion in value since November of 2021. Their stock was almost valued at $400 back then, and now it's at $175. They have been losing executives left and right. They laid off 10% of their global workforce in mid-April. He laid off Rebecca Tinucci, head of the supercharging team, and then the entire supercharging team, which was one of their most profitable branches. Got rid of Daniel Ho, the director of vehicle programs and new product introductions. Both were veterans at Tesla. Tinucci worked for 6 years. Ho was there for 10 years. He lost Rohan Patel, the vice president of public policy. He actually resigned. Martin Viecha, head of investor relations, resigned on the April 24th conference call with analysts. But the worst resignation was Drew Baglino, who has been there for 18 years, and he was the senior vice president of powertrain and energy engineering. He sold $181 million worth of his Tesla shares before he left. At the very least, there must be terrible morale over at Tesla. I'm quoting from the most recent Reuters article about this. Lots of departures very quickly suggest a problematic leadership style. And some of you buy the BS that, oh, Tesla's not a car company. Maybe if you buy the narrative that it's an AI company fundamentally, it's not that much of a concern. Newsflash, Tesla's total revenue for 2023 was $96.8 billion. And automotive sales accounted for over $78.5 billion. It's a car company. Get everything else out of your head. So what is leading to Tesla's fall from grace? Their market cap went from $75 billion in 2020 to about $1.1 trillion by the end of 2021. Now, they're struggling at around $500 billion. One thing we can't discount is China. They have joined the EV craze, and they are out-competing Tesla price-wise, especially in their own country. Tesla sales in China have been dismal at best. Right now, the Chinese government is subsidizing consumers to scrap their older gas-burning cars to buy EVs or lower-emission ICE vehicles by the year's end. And that's about $1,409 per new energy vehicle. And China is trying to flood the world market with its much cheaper electric vehicles. Biden has refused to let China do this to the American markets, so they have put a 100% tariff on Chinese electrical vehicles in 2024. China's lithium-ion batteries and their battery parts, tariff jumps up to 25%. And in 2 years, there will be a tariff on graphite, which is used for the batteries, that'll go to 25%. But will that allow Tesla to keep whatever dominance they have left? That depends on how useful the US government still finds Tesla. If you want to go deeper to find out why Tesla is falling, you should really look up how Tesla rose to prominence in the first place. First thing you have to keep in mind is that Tesla only succeeded because of government funding, not Musk's inventive genius. Tesla was founded in 2003. They did not release their first car until 2008, and they did not turn a profit until 2020. And the only thing that kept Tesla afloat was the US government granting him carbon credits and allowing him to sell them. Look at Tesla's revenue from regulatory credits since 2010. Remember that before this point to 2020, they were operating at a loss, and this was the one thing keeping them financially afloat. And look at the price of Tesla stock around 2020. It begins to skyrocket because it's profitable, and there is a EV bonanza that lasted well until the beginning of 2022. But now everyone's sobering up, and we're starting to see quite the correction. Let's go back to 2020 when they turned profitable. Was it because of cars? It says in that same form that the sale of regulatory credits go into automotive sales. They had a net income of $721 million because they also had a sale of regulatory credits of $1.58 billion. And during that time, Tesla buyers in the US were eligible for a federal tax credit of up to $7,500 for purchasing new EVs. States like California offered rebates, some as high as $2,000. Now today, in 2023, Tesla had a $13.4 billion gross profit for the end of that year. They reported revenue of $1.8 billion in regulatory credits. So what? 13% of that profit was from the government. And again, why? Why was Elon Musk, or just Tesla, the US government's baby? The biggest reason is to secure oil and energy independence in the United States. Remember that Tesla was founded in 2003, and in those budding years, the the United States still did not have the best technology to extract petroleum from shale the way we do today. Popularization of electric vehicles means we consume less oil, and if we are not oil dependent, we're importing a lot less of it, meaning we are not under the thrall of OPEC or OPEC plus. Now, given the fact that the United States produces more oil than Saudi Arabia or Russia ever has, we have more oil that we can export for profit, meaning that electric vehicles not only helped us become more oil independent, we are now a net exporter of oil. And then there is the United States oil lobby itself. While the US government doesn't want any industry or lobby to be too powerful, and the oil industry, in my opinion, is the most powerful. We don't just consume oil or petroleum for energy. We also put it in almost everything we make. Plastics and polymers come from petroleum. The vast majority of synthetic fibers comes from petroleum. You may think, well, the pharmaceutical industry is very powerful. Yes, but the base of almost every single medication comes from a petroleum extracted product. If you're thinking tech, well, petroleum chemicals are used to refine silicon to make semiconductors. And yes, the banking and insurance companies, they are a huge industry in this country and the world. But it doesn't matter how much money you have if you do not have the energy to power your factories or your infrastructure. Guess what? You can't do anything. Credit and money may be the air that the business world and just industry breathes, but oil is the blood. Oil has a lot of control over what goes on in the entire world. But if we have electric vehicles and an infrastructure that isn't so heavily reliant on oil, guess what? The government gets more wiggle room for power. And it's been working. We have a face for the electric vehicle or any kind of revolutionary industry now. 3 big car makers of the world are heavily invested in electric vehicles. So the cat's out of the bag. There's no going back. Oil has definitely lost a lot of its bargaining power now. Tesla can flounder or vanish from the face of the earth. People will still be making electric vehicles now. But I think Elon Musk and what he's done has become too useful to the US government. I mean, just look at SpaceX and the advancements that have been made into AI because of Tesla. And even though I said that Tesla is currently a car company, and most likely will be for the next few years, they may be trying to make the transition to focus on AI and just have the cars be their moneymaker for now. Now, I don't know what's going to happen to Tesla. I don't know if they're going to go back up to 400 or if they're going to go back to their pre-COVID levels. But I know for a fact that the stock price would not be this high if it wasn't for the intervention of the US government for all of these years. My name is the Geo Husar, and I wish the best for the people who work at Tesla. Thanks for watching.